Yo, what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Welcome to how to extend the battery life on your iPhone. Well, more so the battery capacity. This is not a battery tips video where we just talk about how you can get more out of your day. This is more about the lifespan of that battery. So if you go into your battery health, this is what I'm talking about here. The maximum capacity on that 10R right there is 96%. Now, if I go over here to my 10S Max, you're gonna see that I do have 100%. Now, the question of this video is kind of like, well, how do you keep it at that 100%? Because I know this annoys a lot of people, and this all happened because of Apple's battery scandal that happened a couple years back. Now, I want to mention that both of these phones were treated very differently. So the iPhone XR was often depleted to under 50%, under 30%, and even sometimes fully drained more often than I would like. Now on my 10S Max, I really tried to monitor to make sure that it stays up there. And I'm going to talk about what you can do to go ahead and save the battery life. Now, the first one is definitely going to be related to the temperatures of where you're storing your iPhone. So basically, you can go to this Apple website that talks about maximizing the battery performance. I'll leave a link down below. But essentially what they say is go ahead and keep your iPhone placed in areas where it's not too cold or it's not too hot. So not extremely cold or not extremely hot. I'm not saying, if it's 80 degrees, that's a big problem. But I'm saying if it's 95 and up, 100 degrees, this is bad for the battery. Also, if you keep this thing in a car overnight, you leave it in your car, it's freezing cold outside, that could hurt the capacity as well. In addition, if you got the sun beaming on the phone on a really hot day, that could hurt it as well. So I would recommend, if you're the type of person who uses GPS all the time, maybe get a vent GPS holder or maybe one of the cup holder GPS gooseneck holders. Those allow it to keep it out of the windshield, which might cause a battery capacity drain. In addition, if you are charging it while using the phone, that can also heat up the battery and potentially hurt the capacity of this battery. Now, the next one I don't do often when I really want to preserve the battery capacity and the lifespan of this phone is I don't take it from 100% all the way down to 0 and then charge it fully back up. If you do this often, I guarantee within a couple of months, you're going to see this maximum capacity go down. So watch your charging habits is what I would definitely recommend. So try not to get this phone below 50% too often. And you don't always have to top it up to 100. You can get it around 95 or so. And that's good. If you keep going below 50, you keep dropping it down to 0, and then you want to charge it all the way back up and then overnight, and then it's 100, and then you drop it again to 0. This is a lot of stress on the battery, and it will deplete this capacity. So my next tip is to go ahead and use the low power mode to save energy. This will definitely not stress the battery as much. And also it's more likely that you can get through your day without really depleting it too far down if you leave this low power mode on. And I find that with low power mode on, I don't see a big significant reduction in performance. Now, if you're playing games and stuff like that, I'd probably turn it off for that gaming session. But day-to-day stuff, even with low power mode on, I don't notice really any big deal of difference in performance. The next thing I recommend is to go ahead and use Apple OEM chargers. This kind of goes for all phones, but Apple makes their own chargers, their own cables, and I know they're not always the best prices ever, definitely not, but they do certify these. These are certified Apple OEM parts, and they definitely will help you sustain this. I mean, essentially the tip is don't buy cheap junky cables and cheap junky chargers just because they look pretty or they're on sale. Make sure they are Apple certified, and that should help you out a little bit here. The next thing that I did on this 10R more often than the 10S Max was I wirelessly charged it. And when I wirelessly charged it, I felt it getting really hot, and I think that explains why I might have a 96% here. So wireless charging, you don't always have to do. I think it can heat up the battery a little bit, and that really comes down to, again, cheap, junky wireless chargers. If you buy cheaper, junkier ones, they're not certified, they don't have good heat dissipation, you're gonna have issues there once again. So look for a really good wireless charger if you're going to do it. And I honestly wouldn't recommend doing it every day if you want to preserve the capacity. The next one is fast charging. So this is a big deal for the new iPhones, but fast charging definitely is not as good for the battery as slower charging. So you might want to consider using your smaller brick on the iPhone if you want a longer lasting capacity. So that's something I noticed, that when I fast charge, sometimes it lowers it a percentage or two. Not a lot, but definitely keep that in mind if you're looking for longer longevity for your iPhone. My next one is related to iOS 13. So if you have the iOS 13 software, use the dark mode. It uses less energy on the phone, it saves you battery, and it's less stress to light up a display when it is darker for that battery. So this can definitely help you out a little bit just by using the dark mode as often as possible. So that is a feature that comes with iOS 13. Now the next one is to use Apple's included optimized battery charging. So this comes with iOS 13 as well. To reduce battery aging, iPhone learns from your daily charging routine so it can finish charging past 80% until you need to use it. So tick this on no matter what iPhone you got. If you got 13 and it's there, tick it on. And the last thing I would say is just to apply some of the basic battery tips that you probably already know about. Like, don't constantly have your phone at full brightness all the time, and make sure that you don't have all the background apps running. Turn off all the ones that you're not using for background app refresh, things like that. All those little things that you would see in a more typical battery saving article or video. Go ahead and apply a lot of those as well. That should help in the long run. And lastly, just go ahead and monitor the applications that are draining the battery life here for the iPhone. You could do that in this section right here, and that will definitely tell you kind of what's consuming a lot of power. And be careful, because some apps on the App Store are extremely inefficient for your battery life. So yeah, if you're asking, Nick, how do you get 100% on those battery capacities? This is kind of how I do it. Now, if you're wondering, well, okay, I get that, but I'm just not going to do most of that stuff, or I've tried that stuff and I'm still losing capacity. Well, I was told by Apple support rep that you don't have to really worry about replacing the battery until you hit under 84%. So when you see around 83 or so, then you might want to consider a battery replacement. But anything above 83, you're pretty good to go. So, and you're going to see some people probably comment in this video, I got 76, I got 74, I got 68, I got 60. And I'm still going with my iPhone. Granted, it doesn't get me through a full day, but still, you know, I'm still using it. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But on the whole, I think this feature sometimes causes anxiety amongst iPhone users. Anyway, if you guys got any battery extending tips, go ahead and drop them down below in the comments section of this video. That would be very helpful for other people in the community. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. I will catch you all in the next episode, and happy battery savings. Be sure to be well, and peace.